Elon Musk's estranged transgender daughter is speaking out against her dad. For context, in a recent interview with Jordan Peterson, Musk said he had been tricked into approving gender-affirming care for his child, then said, quote, "My son is dead, killed by the woke mind virus." Musk said that experience led him to his mission to, quote, "destroy the woke mind virus." After the interview, Musk wrote on his platform, quote, "Xavier was born gay and slightly autistic, two attributes that contribute to gender dysphoria. I knew that from when he was about 4 years old, and he would pick out clothes for me to wear like a jacket and tell me it was fabulous, as well as his love of musicals and theater, but he was not a girl."
Elon's daughter, Vivian Wilson, responded to Musk on Threads, writing, quote, "This is entirely fake, like, literally none of this ever happened, ever. I don't even know where he got this from. My best guess is that he went to the Milo Yiannopoulos School of Gay Stereotypes, just picked some at random and said, good enough. In a last-ditch attempt to garner sympathy points when he's so obviously in the wrong, even in his own effing story." She also denied loving theater when she was 4 or picking out outfits for him, and said she has never regretted transitioning. In a separate Threads post, Wilson wrote, quote, "He doesn't know what I was like as a child because he quite simply wasn't there. And in the little time that he was, I was relentlessly harassed for my femininity and queerness." She also poked fun of Musk's Peterson interview, writing, "I look pretty good for a dead B-word." What a strong response from a girl in her early 20s, 22, I believe is Vivian's age. Scrapping with your dad, who's a very public figure, and making such strong statements gives me hope for the youths. To stand in who you are like that's really nice. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, I mean, this whole situation just kind of gets at why I'm a libertarian. I don't care. I want to be left alone. There's nothing about other people's, other families' interpersonal family drama or difficulty that I'm like, oh yeah, I want to hear more about this. I think that's sad that they don't have a good relationship. I think it's sad for Elon that he feels like he lost something, that he feels like he lost a son, and they don't have a good relationship. Obviously, I understand it from her perspective. She thinks he's totally wrong in what he's saying, and I am glad that she doesn't regret getting whatever treatment she got and is happier, and that's good. I want people to make whatever decisions for their lives or their bodies that are best for them, as long as they don't affect other people. The idea that I would know, or society would know, or the government would know, or someone else would know what is best for you, more so than you, is totally anathema to everything I think. So, oh well. Their dispute is, and again, I never like when, again, personal family drama gets spilled all over the internet. Although, to be clear, Elon brought it up. Elon said this, volunteered this in an interview, and made factual claims about what his relationship with his child was. So if the child has every right to then speak up and say that's not true, or that's not the way it was.
Right, and Vivian Wilson never made a decision to be a public figure. Her father's statements and this interview with Jordan Peterson really launched her into the spotlight at 22. And I think it's shocking. I mean, the last time I looked this up, it said 11. Now it's saying he has 12 children with 3 women.
Maybe he had another one since you looked it up.
Maybe he had another one since I looked it up, or the 11 was counting Vivian as dead. Who knows?
Elon Musk and Nick Cannon are going to be the 2 people who rescue the human race from low fertility. Jesus. It's a lot of kids. And I think that's what's going on here with Elon Musk saying Vivian had a love of theater when she was 4 years old, because she recounts and says, well, my twin brother had a love of Hamilton in like 8th or 9th grade and wouldn't stop playing this stuff. But I think it speaks to, if Elon wasn't around, how awful is it that your father's only presence in your life is making commentary like this and forcing you to be a public figure? But a lot about this statement, I think, speaks to the fact that, she says, as for if I'm a woman, sure, whatever you want to say, I'm legally recognized as a woman in the state of California, and I don't concern myself with the opinions of those who are below me. To have to talk about your father that way and defend yourself in the public sphere for your own identity is a lot. And attacking your own child for their identity is just,
it's a disgusting thing to do, and it makes me think so much less of Elon that he would treat someone like this who is his own child.
Yeah, I mean, from his perspective, he's not attacking the child. He thinks the child made, or that he made on behalf of the child, very bad decisions for their medical care, and that has damaged their relationship and was not good for the individual.
But he was never a part of that decision, and maybe he regrets that.
That's his perspective. I don't know that perspective is accurate. The Vivian, that's her name. She seems, right, if she's truly happier, and that's good for her. And Elon brought it up, which again, I would not. You couldn't get me on television on an interview to talk about my uncomfortable things with my family. I think that's just a situation to avoid for public figures, and he brought it up, and so it was justifiable to make a response. If I were him, I would steer clear of that kind of thing.
Yeah, there is a concern.
But it is his origin. I mean, it's his origin story for why he's become this very conservative figure on so many issues. It's because he went through this experience.
Supposedly, I think a lot of his conservatism has more to do with him wanting to have corporate tax cuts and have, a friendly environment for him to keep getting these loans and keep using this money to turn his capital into more money.
He's always wanted those things, but he identified as a Democrat, and now he identifies as Republican because of the...
It happened also as he accumulated wealth. So correlation isn't causation, but there are other things than just this. Considering he wasn't a presence in the life at all of this child, and her take of this is this entire thing is completely made up, and there's a reason for this. He doesn't know what I was like as a child because he quite simply wasn't there. He wasn't a part of this decision he supposedly regrets. So to say he's a conservative because he's so impacted by a child whose life he's not present in doesn't make sense. I think it's more about wanting to be a right-winger because rich guys look out for rich guys.
I mean, I don't know. It's an unfortunate situation, and again, I don't want to. It's not fun that we have to all know about the dysfunction in this family, but he volunteered that information. I mean, I think it's his. No, it has he's gotten. It's not just his accumulation of wealth. He has gotten way more involved in politics. I mean, he bought Twitter to be more involved in the conversation on social media on not just taxes and stuff. I mean, he doesn't say very much about those things. It's right-wing culture warrior stuff.
Why would he say that, though? That's very unpopular among everyday people.
What's unpopular?
The idea that very wealthy people should have corporate tax cuts that are greater than working and middle class tax cuts like Trump did. He started supporting Trump around the same time Trump started pushing these policies that are very good for big business and very good for the elites.
He started supporting, he came out in support of Ron DeSantis and said he would not support Trump. Now he is supporting Trump.
Yes.
But it's because Ron DeSantis was the most again, it's culture, conservative culture stuff.
That's what he's saying publicly.
Okay, I'm not denying that the other stuff is important to him too. What I'm saying is those things were always probably important to him. He was probably always trying to be like, Democratic Party, more subsidies for green cars, more tax cuts. But he did not have conservative social views. I say conservative social views, although these views probably represent the majority of people in America until he went through this experience.
I don't think that's the case. I think when we see who Elon Musk really is, we look at him partying in MIT with all of these very lefty people who have fluid gender and identities. That's the scene he was in. And so for him to say, suddenly I'm culturally conservative, at the same time, he accumulates so much money that he becomes the wealthiest man in the world for a period of time. I think that he can win people over on the cultural issues, so he talks about them a lot and pushes them on everyone's timelines on X. But do I think that's really what motivates his political decisions? A guy who has billions and billions of dollars that can save billions and billions of dollars if he gets someone willing to have corporate tax cuts in office? I think it's pretty clear what his real incentives are.
I don't agree. I mean, I'm not disagreeing that those are his incentives, and obviously he wants to pay less in taxes, as does every person on Earth. But what is motivating to a large degree is, I mean, it's not only about taxes and the economy and everything else. It's about a culture and a society and the values that people have. And he had a he had a personal experience with what he would describe as the excesses of this gender identity movement. not just beyond being gender fluid in college or wearing different clothes, trying that. That's all surface level, not permanent biological changes or any of that kind of thing. He's talking about medical interventions for children that he was radicalized by.
Yeah, he talks about a lot of that stuff. There's another facet to this, and it's something that Vivian spoke to. She said, obviously, he can't say the same because in a ketamine-fueled haze, he's desperate for attention and validation from an army of degenerate, red-pilled incels, her words, and pick-me's who are quick to give it to him. Go touch some effing grass. I think it's interesting.
Ketamine, do not recommend.
Yeah, it's for horses. But I think it's good that she recognizes that some of his views might not be his own, and he's someone who's always really liked attention. He's someone who has negotiated his contracts, so he's the public face of every company he's been involved with or bought. And so what he's willing to do for attention, it's like this positive feedback loop that if he's getting it from a certain group of people, he seems to feed into that in a similar fashion to how Trump does. And so I don't know. I think it could be that he's catering to his viewers, to his audience in a way that's changing him in a direction that's not authentic.
Let us know what you think. We'll have more Rising right after this.